Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Money. It's time to review the latest horror movie that is out right now. This one is called Undertone because it's possibly the most scariest movie that you'll ever hear.
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Money. Now, Undertone is a 2025 Canadian horror film that was written and directed by Ian Tuason. Now, the film stars Nina Kiri, Adam DeMarco, Michelle DeQuay, Kiana Lynn, but by Titius, I think I pronounced that wrong, and Jeff Young. Now, in the film, a host of a popular paranormal podcast becomes haunted by terrifying recordings mysteriously sent her way. Oh boy. Now, horror fans, when it comes to horror films, I like it when filmmakers try to do something different or unique when it comes to the premises of the films that they're making. One example is the 2014 horror film Tusk, starring Justin Long, where a broadcaster is kidnapped by a crazy man who certainly turns him into a walrus. Yeah, that was very disgusting. You have Jordan Peele's first film, Get Out, that tells the story of a young African American man who discovers that his girlfriend's family hosts a twisted society that steals the bodies of black people so that their friends can transfer their consciousness into those bodies and take advantages of the so-called gifts that they believe these black people possess. Then we have The Purge, set in the dystopian future that all crimes, including murder, are legal for 12 hours once a year, focusing on the family trying to survive that night. Now, see, each of these films features a different and interesting premise, where the filmmakers are trying to make their films stand out more than the average horror film. I mean, let's be honest, horror fans. I'm pretty sure most horror fans, such as myself, sometimes get tired of the same tropes, the same plots, and the same stories that we see before, whether in slashers, supernatural horror films, creature features. So I like it when filmmakers try to do something different, unique to make their horror films stand out. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And now we have Canadian filmmaker Ian Tuason brings us his latest project in his directorial debut with a film called Undertone. Now, we're introduced to Eveline E.V. Bagbig, a young woman who hosts a podcast called Undertone with her co host Justin, where she plays a skeptic and Justin is a believer. Now, their podcast consists of them listening to some weird shit every month, and she, being the skeptic, believes that they're all fake and they're not real, while Justin believes there's a possibility that some of these sounds could be real, and deadly things could happen. Now, Evie has moved back to her childhood home to care for her comatose mother, where she records her podcast with Justin in the living room. Now, Justin receives an email from an anonymous source that contains 10 audio files involving a couple named Mike and Jessa. Now, the first audio file that they listen to seems harmless at first, but later on, it becomes obvious that something dark and evil is hidden within those files. Now, I'm pretty sure horror fans are probably saying to me, Money G, what's going on? What makes this film so different and unique than the ones we've already seen with a similar premise? Now, first of all, what makes this film unique is that the entire film takes place in Evie's mother's house. Another thing is that the only on screen actors that we see are Nita Kiri and Michelle DeQuay, who plays her Evie's comatose mother, while all the other actors, like Justin, are just voiceovers. We have the two actors playing Mike and Jessa. There's a couple other people that we have voiceovers for, but that's basically it. So it's just mainly uh, Nina Kiri. She's basically the main driving force of the film. Now, for me, this is an interesting premise for a horror film because it has to rely on the sounds of the audio files that Evie and Justin are listening to, and of course the acting of Nina Kiri. And so for me, the film succeed in doing both. I really did enjoy this film. It's a decent horror film. Now, first off, I like the dynamic between Evie and Justin, and I'm pretty sure remind people of the dynamic between Mulder and Scully of the X Files. The reason why the X Files work, and for me, it's always will be the best show on television, is because of the chemistry between David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson. Without their chemistry, the X Files would not have succeeded at all because it was basically, other than the mythology, it was basically of a creature, the monster of the week show, and you can only do that for so long before it becomes dull and stale. But because of the dynamic between David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, the X Files lasted as long as it did. Now, Nina Curie and Anna DeMarco also have that same chemistry together as they go back and forth about the recordings, whether they're real or fake. Adam believes it's a possibility that they're real, but Evie, she's still skeptical. Now, the fact that we never see Adam as Justin really works, as Nina does a great job with her facial expressions when talking to Adam, and also when the more she listens to the audio files, the more weirded out she becomes, and the more less skeptical she becomes because there's some weird shit going on in the house. Now, the more they listen to the recordings, the more Evie tries to ignore the obvious, despite Justin's attempts to convince her otherwise. That's what also fascinates me about this film, because everything is showing, everything is saying that there's something wrong listening to these audio files, but Evie really tries her best to ignore the obvious, probably because of what her character is, despite Justin's attempts to convince her otherwise. That's mainly because the house plays in the setting as well, as Ian and his team do a great job about how dark and how the color saturation, how eerie the house looks. I mean, he does a great job in creating the right type of atmosphere for a film like this, as the sound design brings a lot of tension and suspense while we listen to what's happening to Mike and Jessa. I think that's another aspect of the film that I really enjoyed because as you listen to the audio tapes, we get to see what's happening as more strange things are happening between Mike and Jessa. That's also affecting Evie as well. The dark shadows that we see in the film play into the creepy aspect that Ian brings in the film. I'm pretty sure the audience is expecting something to jump out at those shadows, but it doesn't, which I'm glad because he doesn't use fake. He doesn't use a lot of jump scares. It's just uneasy and unsettling atmosphere. And when you're looking at the film, you're just waiting because you think something's going to happen, but it doesn't. But for me, that really brings into the creepy aspect of the film. I really like what Ian does here. While this aspect of the film worked for me, it might not work well for others because it's kind of a slow burn and it does take a while for all the crazy shit that happens in the third act of the film. Some people will prefer to see a lot of crazy shit happen while the film is going on. But for this type of film, I like the fact that Ian did this aspect slow roll. He decided to let the tension build, let people think that something bad is going to happen, but that doesn't take place until the third act of the film. And I believe Ian did this on purpose because we get to see Evie's struggles in dealing with her mother and her own issues. It's like a character arc that Evie goes on here, especially regarding her boyfriend Darren and a current situation we learn later on, probably around the end of the first act of the film, that will play in later at the third act of the film. And that's because, like I said before, because what happens in the third act of the film, Ian decides to go all out in a very wild and creepy outcome, which I'm pretty sure will satisfy most horror fans like I did. Trust me, when you're looking at that third act, you're going to say, holy shit, god damn. Now, I won't reveal the aspect of the audio files and what's causing it. I believe if you've seen the film, you probably know what happens in this particular film, but I won't give that away out because it really plays into what's happening in part of the film. And especially when you get to that third act, I want people to get that sensation the way I enjoyed it. I want them to enjoy the sensations the way I enjoyed it. Again, you really have to give credit to Nina Kiri as she does a great job in carrying out the film, as she is the only on-screen actor who speaks, as Michelle does not. You can see the frustration in her eyes. You can see the facial expression. She knows that some weird shit is happening. She's trying her best to try to pull it off, but she can't ignore all the craziness that's happening in her life. Some of the other things that are going on. Uh, Could be because of a relationship between her mother, because her mother was a very religious woman, and we get to see that aspect play on throughout the film. So you really got to give Nina Curie credit because you definitely need to have a great performance because she's the only person in the film that says anything or is actually physically there, and she does a great job in this role. And it really shouldn't be surprising since the praise she received, Nina Curie received when playing Alma in the Showtime series The Handmaid's Tale, as she does an excellent job in this role too. Now, I couldn't find who did the sound design for this film, but they deserve a lot of praise, as I never would have thought that playing nursery rhymes like London Bridge or a Baba Black Sheep would sound creepy and frightening. I don't want to listen to those anymore after watching this film. And again, I'm sure some horror fans will not enjoy this one because it is a bit of a slow burn, but I really did enjoy this one due to how creepy and frightening those recordings are, and of course the great acting from Nina Curie. So I'm going to give Undertone 4 out of the Miser's 5 bloody gold coins. Yes, I really did enjoy this one. Could be one of the top best films that I'll see this year when it comes to the horror films. Could be one of my definitely going to be on my top 5 list for sure, unless some other films comes out this gets knocked down. But really did enjoy Undertone. Is it the scariest movie that you ever heard? Nah, I don't think so. I don't like it when they tag when they do it when they tag advertise a film like that. But it's very very good. I really did enjoy this one. So there you have it, horror fans. That is my video and review of Undertone. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please give me the thumbs up, like, and share because it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Have you seen Undertone? What do you thought about it? Do you think this is the scariest movie that you ever heard? Leave your comments in the comment section below and tell your thought about the film. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. Ring that notification bell. That way, we notify anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember, horror rules. I see you in my next video. Guys, stay safe out there.